Hey guys, and welcome back to Regret Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, do you know that people are so stupid that they don't realise that they're being run by a very small amount of people? And it's mainly those people who work within those walls. I was going to say four walls of the House of Parliament, but I'm sure there's a lot more walls that surround that shit. But a lot of people don't realize that those people there, they are running the institution of England for themselves. That's what they're running. You know, the that's one of the reasons why you've got the Scots and the Welsh and the Irish have all got their like breakaway parliaments. So I can base this on our parliament, on the English parliament, because although they call it the UK parliament, it's really the English parliament because all the others have really got their own. So for them, yeah, in this country, they are running this country for themselves. All you have to do is take a look at how they treat themselves. First of all, right, they're issued with what, around £500,000 each every year. Right? People think, oh no, their wages is not, but the package for them is worth about £500,000. And then within those walls, they have pubs and they have restaurants. All of these pubs and restaurants are subsidised. That's right, subsidised. You know, for what it would cost you to have like a let's just say two, let's just say a let's just think, yeah, a Big Mac meal. Those guys, right, are getting, right, properly prepared food by chefs for that type of money because it's all subsidised in there. Everything in there is subsidised. So they'll have great chefs and that working in there, but it's not like it's not as if to say these chefs are they can, obviously they can pay them absolutely fantastic wages, so they can get the same type of money that they'll get in like one of the finest restaurants in the world, but they just work in the House of Parliament, and it's much more stable. Right, they can work in there for years. They're going to get fantastic benefits from working in there. So, so everything's subsidised. You can smoke in their pubs. Right? So that's when I tell you, right? These people are working in their own interest. Don't matter what parties they're from. Doesn't matter what parties they're from. And even if you get people from the working classes going in there, they just have to start, dancing to that tune. That's it. You dance that tune, or you're out of there. And there's two ways you can be out of there. You can be out of there by your voters not voting you have to go back in there, right? Or if you're a person who wants to go in there and cause so much problems, right, that it looks like it's going to take down the whole institution, all of them will be gunning for you because they all know what they're protecting. All of them, they know what they're protecting, and they're not protecting anything for us. They're protecting everything in their very own interests. And also, this is by any means necessary. What the hell am I talking about? I should be saying, and welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks here to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all the messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all the messages for definite. What kind of foolishness was that? But it is bank holiday, so you can say that I've got those bank holiday blues. And let's just see. Boris Becker jailed. I just think, well, don't feel sorry for Boris Becker. Right? There's two very good reasons why you should not feel sorry for Boris Becker. One, yeah, because he's made nearly 40 fucking million pounds and he's lost all the fucking shit. Yeah, that's the biggest one. You shouldn't feel sorry for him. Right? But the second reason is Boris Becker has got the ability, right, of making millions of pounds when he comes back out of prison. No big. It's no big thing. Boris Becker was born, right, with not a family silver spoon in his mouth. He was born in a silver spoon in his mouth, yeah, direct, right, from our maker. And I'm not religious. I'm an atheist. He was brought. That's right. So it's not even some people are born into these millionaire families or whatever. No. Boris Becker wasn't. He was born. He was born. Right. You can forget those type of people who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth from their family. You can forget them type of people. When it comes from above, that silver spoon in your mouth, yeah, you can never be. You can fuck things up, but you can never ever be poor. Mike Tyson was also born with that in his mouth. Right? It's a very special thing, right, to have that because you can go to prison, right, for some of the most horrendous crimes. Mike Tyson went to prison for rape. No one believes he done it. Right? And I think that's another thing that went in his favour because there's not many people in the world that believes he done it. But he was convicted of it. Right? But as I said, Mike Tyson and Boris Becker, they're born with that silver spoon, yeah, not from family, come from above, right? And when you've got people like that, yeah, they can never be fought. They can end up in prison for their because they can be stupid, right? Being born with a silver spoon in your mouth, right, doesn't mean that you're not going to be. You can't be stupid. Look, Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, right? And he's as thick as two very short planks, right? So being born with the silver spoon doesn't give you a guarantee that you're not going to be thick, a right big thick old idiot, right? Doesn't give you that guarantee. But with Boris Becker now, Boris Becker has got stories now because he's got a book deal in how he got to prison, yeah. I don't mean the journey from the court to the prison because that's only short. I think he's in. I think he's about in Wandsworth. I think he's either Wandsworth or something like that. But right, his journey to prison, how he lost all that money and then ended up in prison. That's a book right there, right? And then he's got another book of his time in prison, what he got up to, right? And if he's smart, and Boris Becker should be the smartest person in the prison. Because you end up in prison, yeah, don't mean that you're stupid. Right? It don't mean that you're thick because you end up in prison. It just mean yeah, that your motherfucking ass has been caught out. Right? But so Boris, he should be the smartest person in the prison. Right? So he can be, so he can make a lot of good use in prison. Right? You look at someone like Lord Archer. Lord Archer was in there, yeah, and he taught so much people how to read and write and all these things because he used his skills to his advantage. So he had a really good prison experience, Lord Archer, right? Because that's what you can have. Right? If you're rich and famous, right, you can have a very good experience within prison. Yeah, you might be locked up, right? But everybody in the prison, right, wants to have time with you, and the more people you can spend time with in the prison, right, and more people you can help out, right, will give you and your time will fly past. So for Boris Becker, he can help a load of people in prison. So he's got another book that he's got of his time in prison. So that's 2 books so far, right? And then coming out of prison, he's got another book of him coming out of prison. So that's 3 books, right? Plus all his TV work he's going to get. Right? So don't feel sorry for Boris. Don't feel sorry for Boris ever because Boris will be okay. Yeah, trust me on this. Boris will be absolutely fine. Boris probably born ambidextrous, and you know that in the world, yeah, it's 10% of the world's population that is ambidextrous, right? And one thing I can guarantee you, right, is the majority of them are famous, right? And if they're not, most of them will be famous within their own countries. Some of them will be famous just within their own districts, right? But they will be all people that are well known, all ambidextrous. 10% of the world's population, right? Because they can use both sides of their body, and that puts them a way ahead of the majority of us, right? Who are like who are like left-footed or right-footed, right? So if when you fight a boxer like Mike Tyson who can hit you from all angles at the same power from every angle, right? If you're a southpaw or you're an orthodox, right, you're gonna have problems fighting him. You're going to have real problems fighting him because he can just switch from one side to the other. Doesn't matter for him, Right, but obviously people can train themselves up to use their left or their right. They can do that, right? But right, you're never ever going to be as good as someone who was born that way. It's just never going to happen, ever. Right? So that's what I tell you. Yeah, don't feel sorry for Boris, because Boris will be all right. And we've got that those Just Stop Oil people, right, have been making a complete nuisance of themselves, blocking up refineries and all things. There was on the M25 the other day, and they smashed up a load of pumps, right in the petrol stations. They went in there, and I saw one of the girls, yeah, and she was on camera just smashing the pump with her face out, right, just smashing the pump. And I was like, what the backside is she doing? Right? At least put a mask on or something, right? And then blend back into the crowd, right? And then and then mill back around, right? Put a mask on your face or something, so at least the police can't just come and say, well, listen, that is criminal damage. Right? If the police can't identify which one of you has done the criminal damage, then you can carry on demonstrating and say, well, wasn't me, gov. Everyone, make sure that just try and get everyone to dress in the same colours. Right? And then the people who are going to do all the criminal damage, right, you get them to mask up so no one knows, so the police can't identify which person has actually done the criminal damage, right? But I see this, this is the thing with white people. Seriously, you people have got a screw. You think you can go and commit criminal offences, right? If you're committing criminal offences, right, cover up your fucking face. Only motherfucking white people could do that shit, right? Why do you think you don't really see black people putting themselves on offer for people like Extinction Rebellion? Because we know, what? If we go and get ourselves arrested like that in Extinction Rebellion, right, there's a good chance we won't come out the motherfucking police station ever again, right? White people just say, yeah, I'm sitting here, I ain't moving, you come and pull me off. Black people are like, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to support you from my house. If you see how this girl was smashing up this pump, seriously, it's one of the wildest things, right? It's as if, right, a load of white people could go and rush the Capitol building, right, smack the shit out of police officers and all those type of things, right, bear spray in their face, right, and beat them with their own truncheons, beat them with an American flag. It's like a load of white people could go. I mean, that would be fiction for a load of white people to go and do that type of shit, wouldn't it? Right. But when Marjorie Taylor Greene, right, this crazy woman the other day, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right, has said that Satan, and she used his first name. And that's how you know when the woman's on good terms with him, because she's using his first name, so she must know him. Because most people call his ass the devil, or they say you're going to hell. Right? Marjorie Taylor Greene was just like, Satan has taken over the church. I was like, what? Jewish space lasers ain't enough for you. Seriously, Jewish space lasers ain't enough for you. That now Satan has taken over the church because the church wants to treat migrants humanely. So she said, because the church wants to treat migrants humanely, Satan has taken over the church. I mean, do you know where to go with that? And she said it out loud. She said it like that because the church wants to treat migrants humanely. It's been taken over by Satan. Not by the devil, not by hell. By Satan himself has taken it over. That is some crazy shit. And that's what I tell you, right? These right-wing white people, these are some crazy motherfuckers, right? Seriously, right? But, right, I was talking about, these were some left-wing, well, actually, because they're Just Stop Oil, right? Now, they're put down as left-wing activists because obviously, anytime people, anybody who wants to save the planet or anything like that is put down as a left-wing activist. But for them to be openly just smashing up petrol pumps and that like that, I was just like, something, yeah, white people are some crazy motherfuckers, right? That's some crazy No wonder Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of yours, right? And you've got Nadine Dorries too. But no wonder these people are, these are some crazy ass people, right? For them to be, from what I saw them doing on the M25, I was just like, you know what? And I have to link them with those crazies who went and who started that on January the 6th in America, because this is the type of mentality that that a lot of that a lot I you know this is supposed to be a right wing right thing, right? This is supposed to be right wing white people, right? I don't know if this girl's a left wing. I don't know if she's a lefty. I don't know what she was, but all I can tell you, that's the video that I saw of her. Right? There was a lot of other people doing it as well, but I can guarantee you one thing: there was no black people doing it, because right now their ass would be on remand. Right? And sorry, MP Neil Parish, right, has I felt quite sorry for him. Do you know what I mean? Because he come out and he gave a full and frank explanation of why he was caught watching porn in the House of Parliament. Right? Look, people think that I have a problem with people. I don't have no problem with people who watch porn. I don't watch porn myself. I don't have a problem with people who watch porn. But I think there's a time and there's a place for it. Right? And that time and that place, yeah, I don't think is in the House of Parliament. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that time and that place is at your workplace, right? Unless you work in the sex industry. If you work in the sex industry, then I'm sure that's the time and the place for you to be watching or taking part in porn in your workplace between 9 and 5 at your work, right? But I felt quite sorry for him, because he was just like he looked like he looked like a very sad type individual. Do you know what I mean? That was that has been. Because I sort of believe that he's looking for he was looking for tractors, because that's what he said, he was looking for tractors, and he has put the word dominator right into, because there's some type of dominator tractor or something like that. I don't know, some type of baling machine or something. I don't know what it is, right? But it's called a dominator, right? Now, if you're putting words like that into the internet, yeah, then you're gonna put then you don't want your wife to look at your history. Right, because a lot of things can pop up when you put stuff like that. Very simple things, yeah, put in on the internet, yeah, will bring you up some horrendous, websites and stuff like that, and all based around some nasty sex, right? And you see, he's probably just, he was probably looking for the tractors, and then one of those has popped up, and he's clicked on it, and he's had a good look at it for a good 9 minutes or whatever, right? But the problem is that he would have known that other people was watching him watching that. So at that point, yeah, if it's something that flashed up on his phone or whatever, I've got one button on my phone that I could just shut everything down with one button. Right, so he could have just gone for that, right? But stuff. He is like a Walter Mitty type character. He's kind of a sad individual. Do you know what I mean? And like you can see, and I mean his wife has just come out and said he's a damn idiot. That's what he is. He's a big ass buffoon, bummy headed fool, right? Who I would like to drown in the bath tonight, right, for embarrassing me, right, in the national media like this, right? I hate his guts. I'm probably going to stay with him, but I hate his guts, right? And he's so you can tell he's really like and he's resigned, so he's done the decent thing, right? And the decent thing for him to do was, because with all the backlash that he was going to get, I suppose that he couldn't really go anywhere else with all the backlash that he was going to get, So, and then in the House of Parliament, there's been a little bit of a twist, right? Apparently, they've had a I think it's Angela Rayner is calling for an investigation into allegations that they've had a competition for the sexist of the year, not sexiest, the sexist of the year. So Angela Rayner's calling for some type of investigation into that type of shit. But you know what the House of Parliament like? It's all kind of shit that's going in that place. Right? They can get up to all sorts. Don't really matter. Right? And one of those, the Beatles, right, has been jailed, right, in America. Right? And those was those guys that was they're from London, right? And they went over to Syria, and they was cutting off, and they was going and murdering civilians as in, right, aid workers, right? Now, aid workers and journalists and civilians are off limits to everybody, whether in war zones, they're 100% off limits, right? Your aid workers are there to help. That's what they're there for, right? And they don't deserve to have their heads cut off, right? By some crazy fucking idiots that come from London. I'm very disappointed in those guys for them to have gone over. Now, listen, if they're going over there and they're fighting soldiers, then I've got no problem with that. Even if they're cutting off soldiers' heads, I ain't got no problem with that. I've got no problem with that, but you don't, but not civilians, because then you're showing that that you are you're completely inhumane, because I know that these guys are not a traditional army, but there are still Geneva Conventions, right, that say that that in war zones, right, there are people that are 100% off limits, and those people always start right around civilians. Right, so they're always off limits. So what these guys done was bang out of order. Torturing these civilians like this and that was just so far. What they done was just like and he's an American and he deserved. He deserves to be there, to be in prison for the rest of his life. And he did plead guilty. Right, but he deserves to be there for the rest of his life. And so and I think Jihadi John, I mean, he was one of them, because I think he got blown up in a drone strike or something like that. So there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of talk about about this guy being jailed like that. And I don't think there's going to be much people that think that it's going to think that the sentence is unfair. Obviously, there's going to be some Muslim extremists who think that it was who think that it's completely unjustified for what happened. But when you're targeting civilians, then the world should have no sympathy on you at all. And we've got Britain is spending £500,000 a day, right, to store PPE, right, that is useless. So not only there are still people out there, because obviously the people who are storing this shit, it's just like we can just right. They would have been better off, right? Well, I'm sure. Right, they could find some type of recycling purposes for that, right? Rather than having it there for right, because it must be plastic, right? So it must be plastic. So they could have all the plastic companies they could have just said to the plastic companies, well, we'll tell you what, you come and buy all these tons off of us. And we'll sell it to you at a very, very low price, because the plastic companies could make good use of it. So they could have done that, but no, they're spending £500,000 of your money. Sorry, our money, because we're all involved in this shit. Our money, right? Spending £500,000 a day of our money to store the PPE that they misbought in the first place, thus making so much of their friends and their donors so motherfucking wealthy that most of them will never have to work again. Right, Jacob Rees-Mogg. Right, Jacob Rees-Mogg the other day, he firstly admitted that Brexit is a really terrible idea. He didn't say it in those words, but Jacob Rees-Mogg. Do there's not words for people like Jacob Rees-Mogg. Jacob Rees-Mogg, right, has said that it would be an act of self-harm to impose red tape on goods coming in to Britain from the EU. And he said it with a straight face. He said it knowing that the Brexiters are so stupid, so thick, racist idiots. Where this is, there's a big backside, because you people are fucking stupid. You're as thick as two very short. I mean, we're talking about planks that are the size of matchsticks. That's how thick you. We're talking about Baldrick level of thickness, right? And then take 2 coats off of that down. Because that's the level of stupidity that you people have. You Brexiters are so fucking stupid, right? That, you know, if you said to me that it was raining, I would go out and I would check. Because you know what? I know that you're so stupid and it could be a hot sunny day outside. And it's not because you're messing about. It's just because you're too stupid to know. Right? You are the most stupid people to have ever walked on the face of the earth. You Brexiters. You are thick. Right? For Jacob Rees-Mogg to say he's saving this country £1 billion a year by not imposing red tape on goods coming into this country from the EU. And if you guys can't see how stupid he thinks you are, it's because, you know why? It's because you really are really thick. Because our goods going into the EU have got red tape. They've got more red tape on them than an electrician would use, right, building houses for the next 50 years. More red tape than that. A family of electricians, 200 years old, wouldn't have used as much red tape as our businesses have got in front of them now. And these guys have imposed that red tape. And then, right, this must have been, this must have been their plan from the beginning. So well, what we'll do is we'll just keep knocking back the checks. Because now they've knocked back the checks again. And now you've got all of the seaports, all the major seaports are going to sue the government on the back of this, because the government are not going to impose these checks. So it's going to be cheaper for them to just pay them off, pay the seaports off. Don't worry about it, pay them off. Okay? Remember who these guys are working for. They're working for themselves within those walls of Parliament. Pay them off, don't worry about it. We've got their money. We've got the people of this country. We've got their money. We'll just pay them off, and then we can get back to the status quo. We'll be all right, because they know how stupid you people really are. If you can't see, right, what they have done to you here, if you can't see that, then, you know, seriously, you've got real problems. If you can't see what they've done, because they've destroyed you. They've destroyed you, and they've done it, right? And listen, I know I'm going on in this video, but they've destroyed you. They have absolutely destroyed you. Right? They've destroyed so many businesses in this country, right? And now the EU have full access to us, and we have limited access. Limited. We have to jump through hoops. So I'm going to say this to you Brexiters, and you're not going to like this. I'm not going to enjoy saying it. I'm happy to say it, but I'm not going to enjoy saying it. Well, I probably am. Britain is the EU's bitch. To use and abuse as the EU feel fit. The EU can just say, hey Britain, go in that room, take down your trousers and your underpants, and I'm going to be in a minute with lube. The EU can just say, you know what, you're going to sleep with 10 big, nasty ass, sweaty, dirty men that have not had a bath. That's for all you people up north. If you're in London, that would be a bath for a good month. And you're gonna let them do all sorts to you. That's what the EU just does. You're our bitch, and just box you down. Shut up. Don't say a word. You're just here to make my money. That's what the EU's on, right? These people, right? Seriously, these people are savage. They are savage. But like Jacob Rees-Mogg, right? Listen. Right? If you know, right, how stupid you look, how stupid do you think you look, right? When the EU, right, people in the EU, they must be creasing with laughter, right? They must be laughing at this, right, so hard, right, that everything, that if there was eating at the time, everything would fly out, right? The belly would bust with laughter, right? Listen, right? It don't matter how big your belly was, right? You would laugh until your belly is tight looking at this country. Looking at Jacob Rees-Mogg to have the cheek, the audacity, the liberty to say imposing red tape would be self-harm. You know, 80% of Britain's inflation, right, is down to Brexit. 80% of it. That's a guarantee. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna go. You know what? Oh, this is a long video because I've gone way past that. But it is a bank holiday, so you know. But yeah, 80%, right, is down to Britain's inflation. Can you believe that shit? Right, what they've done to this country, and you still. But you know what? But you know what it is? Is they just say, we're gonna send black and brown people to Rwanda, and that's what that is what keeps them in power. That's what keeps them in power. That right there, right? You know, you don't think it was never a mistake when David Cameron come out and said it's okay to talk about immigration, because David Cameron understood how long that would keep the Conservatives in power for. Okay, because let me tell you, yeah, UKIP was just Conservatives. They was just extreme Conservatives. Most of UKIP was all from like your National Front and your BNP. That's where most of them was from. Right? You know, you look at someone like George Eustace, right? He's UKIP. He's ex UKIP, and then he went over to the Tories. Nigel Farage is an ex-Tory, also ex-National Front. Okay, so that's who's running this shit. Right? And look what they've done to you. Anyway, guys, look, I've gone on for far too long. I didn't really mean to go on for this long, but I've gone on for far too long. So I have to wrap this shit up. This is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.